All right, happy Wednesday, everybody. I apologize for the little bit of tardiness. Erika Kirk, as promised, did go live today on the Charlie Kirk Show. For those of you that have yet to see it, heard about it, you are in for a treat. She decided to wear the all black, as we always pay attention to the colors that these people tend to wear. And I was not surprised that she decided to wear all black, as we've pointed that out before. It's either black or white most times, and that is to give off certain signals, to emotionally impact you in certain ways. And depending on who it is that we're speaking about, to speak to you in an esoteric manner, right? But for those of you that may not know, let me go ahead and share this information for you. There is a good chance, according to Colin from Project Constitution, Jack Posobiec states here, the proposed White House ballroom clearly has a security function that will serve future presidents as well. I've heard there is even talk about it being named the Charles J. Kirk Ballroom, right? If you think about what we discussed in our last live just yesterday, what was the first thing that Donald Trump spoke about when he was asked, how is he holding up just a day and a half after Charlie was allegedly taken out on September the 10th? The first thing he does is he diverts attention to the ballroom, which is, for so many reasons, very odd, a very weird thing to do, right? Well, here we have Jack Posobiec stating that this ballroom that we just had a psyop take place in just 3 days ago, and once again, the first thing that Trump mentions or talks about is this ballroom, all right? So I want to make sure that we point that out here at the beginning. And so with that, we're not going to waste much time. We're going to hop right into these speeches. Before I share with you what Erika had to say, it's important that we hear what Andrew Kolvet had to say, right? Shout out to Colin from Project Constitution. I'm going to give you some love here, man. Let's hear what Andrew Kolvet had to say. As a matter of fact, I'm going to let Colin introduce it since it's his video.
Hey guys, it's me, Colin, Project Constitution. Check this out from Glenn Beck last night. Andrew Kolvet just went on there and just spilled a massive, massive bombshell. I think Erika Kirk is about to throw in the towel and stay home with her kids like we've all been begging her to do. He's alluding to the fact that the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner changed her, and now she's had an epiphany and wants to be with her kids, or, who knows. But it's a good thing. Hey, guys, it's okay. If she steps down, that would be fantastic. Anyway, check it out.
Does she want to continue to do this, Andrew? I mean, how much?
Yeah, I mean, listen, she is absolutely committed to, and I don't want to put words in Erika's mouth. I think she's probably going to kind of clarify what this event has meant to her, at some point this week, and kind of where her head's at. So I don't want to speak for her, but, actually she's completely committed and devoted to, fulfilling Charlie's legacy and mission, and none of that has changed. Obviously this was, this was a triggering experience in more ways than one. And it wasn't just her as well. There was Mikey was at the event, and Mikey was just a few feet away from Charlie at UVU. And I know this was hard for him too. And
a triggering experience. Interesting. From Mikey McCoy?
Right.
The amazing Mikey McCoy? You mean he didn't just walk away calmly when it was cell phone?
In some ways, I'm the lucky one, if you could call it that, where I haven't been up close to those events, and I've had to live with the fallout, certainly, but it's not hitting some, deep sort of mental image. So I'm grateful for that. But listen, this whole thing is terrible. And I just think that we've got to do something, because our side thinks everything's Mossad or the Jews or whatever.
Yeah, they are.
And,
Duh.
The fringy folks on our side. And then we're still dealing with a radicalized, mainstream, violent assassination culture that is rising up on the left. And I think that's the most terrifying.
No, it's being caused by autism. It's being caused by all the antidepressants, and it's being caused by MK Ultra. That's what it's being caused by, guy.
The thing about this, Glenn, is you've got this guy was a fairly normie, indiscernible and indistinguishable from so many of the other voices that you hear on the nightly news. And that's the real issue here. And you've got Hassan Piker talking about we need to, soak the streets in capitalist blood. And you've got, they want to talk about social murder with the New York Times, straight out of Engels in the 1800s.
I love how they keep saying, it's the leftist, it's the leftist.
And we shouldn't be surprised when they are wrapping themselves in ideological pretzels to justify murder culture of conservatives. You got Destiny, who's a popular online leftist who says that conservatives, this is right after Charlie's assassination, need to be terrified about going out in public. Like, this is what we're up against, and so to the fringy folks on the right, not everything's Mossad or the Jews. To the crazies on the left, you need to okay, you need to stop exacerbating everything and blaming Trump for your own actions. This is what's crazy.
The problem is they're not.
Go ahead.
Trump has destroyed the entire country. I'm sorry. You need to stop, carrying his water, buddy.
They're not gonna stop. The leaders won't stop because this is the chaos they want. They know they are trying to collapse the republic. They're not just trying to kill Donald.
No, we're trying to save the republic. That's what we're trying to do, idiot.
Trump or something. They're trying to collapse the United States.
That's what Trump is trying to do. That's what Israel is trying to do. We are the ones trying to save it. Quit trying to gaslight people.
America and the republic, period. So they're not going to stop. It's the normal people that are listening to this, that are marching with the No Kings rallies. And
yeah, they're going to just continue to push this whole, it's the left that's attacking, just complete nonsense. But I do want to state for the record what's my position as opposed to what other people's positions are. I do not 100% represent everybody's views in the clip that we just listened to, right? I don't believe that it's just one group that's responsible for everything. I've never stated that on this channel. I will never state that on this channel. I believe there are psyops that are taking place that multiple groups are responsible for. One of those groups being a group that we can't mention on YouTube or several platforms without getting penalized for it, right? But that one group in particular, I do not believe they're responsible for everything. I do not believe that Mossad is responsible for everything. However, if you listen to a person like Andrew Kolvet and Glenn Beck here, you notice that they say it's not always them. Okay, so does that mean that sometimes it's them? How come you never give them credit even when they are responsible or potentially responsible for certain things, and that being Mossad, right? How come you never give them credit or accuse them anytime that they're responsible for something, right? That's something I don't want people to overlook. All right. And with that, let's go ahead and get to Erika Kirk's speech while many of you all are here. So here it is here. Okay, where did it just go? That was weird. There it is.
Nothing will ever be enough for the evil.
All right, let's see what Erika Kirk had to say. Not going to focus on her eyes. Not going to focus how you all are going to say it anyways. We all understand what she looks like here. It's just strange. It's just a weird feeling. That's all. We're told to reject our human instincts and intuitions. Okay, whatever. We're not going to focus on that. We're not going to focus on the fact that she's all black. She's an all black, which is very symbolic. Let's focus on the words that she's saying here. And this video is going to be a bit different, everybody. This is going to be a bit different. I'm going to actually try to sympathize with Erika here. I'm going to try to understand. Truly, I'm going to try to understand.
It seems to me that nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognized.
Bro. In this speech, you're going to hear her talk about people spreading lies about her and lying on her and things of that sort. She's even going to explain to you all, or she's going to explain to us why it is that she attended the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And the reason she gives is just absolute. It's comedy. It's laughable in my opinion. But if she acknowledges the fact that she's well aware that people are saying these things about her, which it would be very difficult for her not to know by this point, wouldn't you want to do something about it? When you come on here and you making these extreme eyes, it doesn't help. That's all I'm saying, respectfully. It just doesn't help.
Recognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband.
Interesting. Allegedly. Interesting. If you want to push that narrative, Erika, fine. Even though all these experts are constantly saying what they're alleged happened to Charlie Kirk is virtually impossible. If I had time, I would show a clip. I just watched a clip of another professional gunsman give his opinion on this podcast of a very popular Twitter account that hosts people like Elon Musk and Hunter Biden and a lot of these people. Tucker Carlson has been featured on this show. And this gunman, this professional gunman himself said, what they're alleged happening, the shot that they're alleging Tyler took, is virtually impossible for a kid with very little experience to be able to pull something like that off on the first shot, let alone getting that weapon up there with it in his pants. This is a professional saying this. But yet Erika is still pushing this. This is what's so confusing, Erika. I'm coming from a place of truly trying to understand. Instead of accusing or alleging or suspecting or speculating, I'm genuinely coming here pleading, like, if you are truly innocent of any wrongdoing, whether it regards to Charlie, TPUSA, fraud, anything, why aren't you working to try to figure out why all these professionals are saying what they're saying happened to your husband clearly did not happen? You have multiple, professional snipers coming out saying they believe that was an explosive under his shirt based on their expertise and their experience. Why aren't you saying anything about that? If you don't want people to accuse you and be upset with you and critique you, why aren't you working with the people to try to figure out or exclude that from being what people think happened? You aren't.
They've continuously tried to assassinate the president.
No, they haven't. Allegedly. That's what they told us.
And anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other trigger word that is grossly dishonest.
Every other trigger word that's grossly dishonest. Now, this is the part I really want you all to pay attention to. Erika Kirk just said anybody that stands in their way is labeled hateful, fascist, racist. But you know what, quote unquote, triggering term, phrase, word she didn't mention here? That is another very popular term that people are called simply for critiquing or criticizing or pointing out rightful critique of certain individuals and organizations. How about anti-Semitic? That's another phrase that people are constantly called, even when it doesn't apply. Why didn't Erika mention anti-Semitism? That's another term that's abused. How come Erika Kirk didn't mention the term Nazi? I try not to say that on YouTube. Why don't Erika Kirk mention the N-A-Z-I word? I'll tell you why she's not mentioning those words. Or evil. How about demonic? Because evil, demonic, anti-Semitic are typically terms that are abused by the right. Just like the left abuses terms like racism, sexism, transphobic, even when it doesn't apply, the right does the same thing. Except those terms are anti-Semitic, demonic, evil, possessed, N-A-Z-I, even when it doesn't apply. That's why she's not using those terms, because those are terms that her contemporaries are using. That's why. You can't just focus on the terms that the left abuse. That goes to show you that there's dishonesty here. Let's continue.
We want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't trust the radicalized liberal teachers. And this past Saturday, it was a school teacher, of all people, a school teacher that attempted to change our history for the worst with bullets. And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room have attempted to dehumanize me. And I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly.
Are y'all buying it? Are y'all buying what she just said? Okay, so hold up. The reason why you went to the Correspondents' Dinner, the White House Correspondents' Dinner that your husband never attended in 10, 15 years of his political career, but not only that, he was never invited. Not only that, President Trump has never attended this event either, even though he's been the president once before and he's the president again. This is the first time he's ever attended it in his 5 years of presidency, 6 years, and the 10 years since he originally became president. You're saying you attended the White House Correspondents' Dinner so that you can meet some of the journalists face to face. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense for multiple reasons. Let's get some of the easy ones out of the way. The first reason we know this is not true is because Erika Kirk is arguably the most famous and polarizing woman in politics, arguably in the country altogether, all across the country. Why is that relevant? If you called, DM'd, text, freaking commented under one of their posts of any journalist in the country, do you know how fast a journalist would come to you? They wouldn't even ask you to come to their studios. They will fly to you directly and interview you wherever you want. You say, interview me in the middle of a sauna. You have to sweat and be miserable the entire interview. I guarantee you half the journalists would do it, because do you know what that would do for their career to interview Erika Kirk? All the questions, especially if it's not scripted, all the questions they would have for Erika. But you're expecting us to believe that you had to attend a White House Correspondents' Dinner in order to get into close vicinity of these people? Erika, one phone call would have gotten you a conversation or anything you needed or wanted with these people. And we both know that that's true. Respectfully, you didn't have to go to a White House Correspondents' Dinner. That doesn't make any sense. Even the way that you said that did not sound convincing. All right. Another reason we should know that this is not true is because Erika, from what I'm hearing and seeing from just the video footage, it seemed to me you were there to attend like everybody else. If your goal was to just meet with journalists, you would meet with journalists. She's about to give an example of one of the journalists she spoke to. But Erika, just because you have one journalist you spoke to does not prove that that's the reason you went. You could just be using it as an excuse. Prove that that's part of the reason you went is you got to speak to multiple journalists. Because my understanding was after they apprehended Cole Allen, the event proceeded. So you had opportunity to meet with 10, 15, 20 journalists, right? We got another reason we know that there's a good chance that what she just said is not true. But before we get to that reason, let's hear a little bit more of what she said first, before I get ahead of myself.
Why have a conversation about me when you can have a conversation with me?
And there it is right there. So her argument here is the people throughout this country, and let's be clear, we are in 2026. Why is that relevant? Because in 2006, the traditional media outlets, the traditional newspapers, they had more power in this country before the internet. In 2026, 20 years later, we live in a completely different world. Podcasters run the world. Podcasters run media, or at least the most popular form of media that young people are using, or even middle-aged people are using in 2026. People are coming to podcasts. People are coming to social media accounts. Who is one of the top podcasters in the world? Candace Owens. And if you really wanted to have a conversation, not a private conversation, if you really wanted to clear up any suspicions, right? Any skepticism, and you wanted to show the people that you're with the people, I want to know the truth too. I want to figure out what truly happened too. If you were really about being that transparent and that genuine, why not just come on to Candace Owens' show? I don't know Candace Owens personally. I'm not here to defend Candace Owens. I'm here to defend truth. And the truth is, you haven't appeared on Candace Owens' show once. So that either means that you don't care about the truth, right? And you want to remain suspicious. as opposed to going into the show, or you and Candace is in on this together and this is all a big show. One of those two things I believe is true. I'll let you all decide which of those two examples is probably more likely the case, especially based on what you're about to hear Erika say. Erika could easily put all of this to rest by talking with the people who are the most skeptical, answering all the tough questions. She's not doing that, though. Instead, they keep having these monologues where they only talk to the camera with no pushback, no challenges. They only have conversations with people who are either Zionist or people who already agree with them on certain topics. Once again, not being challenged.
So, for example, a journalist from the Daily Mail came up to me. She introduced herself.
A journalist from the Daily Mail came up to her. Did y'all catch that? She didn't go and seek out this journalist. The journalist came to her. So if you're there so that you can meet with journalists, why are they having to approach you? Unless your argument is, I know by simply being in the room, they're going to approach me on their own. Oh, okay. Let me tell you what I believe is happening here before she even continues. What I believe happened was I believe that Erika Kirk, respectfully, I believe that she attended this event for her own personal reasons. A lot of us can speculate what those reasons are, and I kind of shared what I believe that reason was in my last video. She attended, and a journalist happened to randomly approach her. She's using this random journalist who approached her as an scapegoat or as a scapegoat to say, this was the true reason I went. See, look, I spoke to this journalist. I'm going to name them by name and organization that they work for or media outlet that they work for. So that way you can reach out to them and verify the story. But again, all you have to do is to give us maybe another 10, 15 examples of different journalists you spoke to or agreed to speak to at a later time. We knew if this was true, she would have met with journalists well before this point.
And she was saying, she was very gracious. She was saying, you look so beautiful. I'm so sorry for your loss. To which I replied, it is so nice to put a name to the face, especially with all of the slander, the lies, accusations that are out there surrounding my husband's murder and myself. And I said to her, you know what's so interesting? This is my first time at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I find it so fascinating, the dynamic that is going on right now, because everyone is all dressed up and you guys are co-mingling in and out of each other's cocktail parties. And so for one night, you are able to put aside all of your differences for the sake of freedom of speech. And then by Monday morning, things will go back to being an absolute bloodbath between all of you. To which she replied, literally, she said, I know. Isn't it special, right? Isn't tonight so special? And following that conversation, it was time to take our seats, and we went into the big ballroom where the dinner was. And one of the first things I noticed when I walked into that room was quite literally the proximity of the opposing outlets to one another. So you have one table here that's Politico, and another table here that's Fox, and another table here that's WAPO, and you're all crammed together, elbow to elbow. And to make the night even more of a spectacle, every single 10-person table had 10 bottles of wine. And the president of the White House Correspondents Association, she did a great job of trying to make the evening have that feeling of Americana. You know, we were in a room celebrating freedom of speech despite our differences. And the U.S. Marine Band performed the national anthem so beautifully. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and total chaos ensued. And you guys have all seen what happened next because there are 1,000 videos of it.
Okay, I'm taking a different approach with this video. I'm trying to understand her angle here. And that isn't sarcasm or reverse psychology at all. I'm truly trying to understand. Does anybody understand the point that she's making here? Is she making the point that, okay, you have all of these people who are at each other's necks and backstabbing each other and purport to not be friends and claim to be enemies of one another or you know, violent or reverent or fervent competitors, if this is the argument that she's making, or to say, nonetheless, they can come together collectively in a room, I'm trying to follow the logic here. So what's the point though? Is I'm not following. Are you saying that it's all fake, maybe, or I'm not following just yet? But maybe she'll clear it up here in a moment.
So let's discuss that fact for a second. If you were in that room, you had no way of knowing what the status of the shooter was, how many there were, or honestly, really anything. It was just utter chaos. And so during an active shooting, these journalists are using their phones to find moments to capture for clips. They were so concerned about getting a video in a room with an active shooter that they could have accidentally and quite literally filmed themselves being shot.
That's true.
Many of those people have become so desensitized that fight or flight became secondary to the opportunity of putting themselves into the story, which ironically breaks the #1 rule of journalism.
I mean, that's actually a very fair point. I agree with that. But unfortunately, it almost seems like almost any point, every point that's made here could be applied to TPUSA. Unfortunately, that's kind of what was happening on September the 10th. Farnsworth was filming while Charlie was being carried to the car. Why would he be doing that? Mikey McCoy pulled out his phone and walked off in record timing. Multiple of the students from those working with TPUSA that day back there by the SUVs were once again filming after everything had ensued. Why would they be doing that? So I totally agree with Erika's point here. No pushback on that. Just sort of an asterisk, if you will.
And again, ironically enough, the shooter was a teacher.
Allegedly.
You have these people who are supposed to be teaching our children the future of this country, and he's so unhinged that he is able to teach children by day and then attempt to murder the president of the United States by night. And in his manifesto, he starts by contextualizing himself by saying, I am a citizen of the United States of America.
This is another odd thing that I've noticed, and I only know this. I noticed these things from people who are already suspected of not being honest. And this is just, I'm just being objective here, man. Why is it that it's only these individuals that always believe whatever the media tells them? You just made a point about how fake, or as some people would say, faking gay, a lot of these things are, right? That being these media companies pretending to be enemies and being against each other, but behind closed doors, they're all attending the same event. All of it is theater. All of it is fake. The world is a stage. So if you're going to make that point, or even make the point to say that people are so thirsty for a story, so thirsty for people to believe certain things, that they're willing to film even when their life is in danger. And I totally agree with her on that point. But here's the problem, though, Erika. You can't make that point and then immediately follow up and say, however, the story that they just told us is 100% true. We know all the details. None of it is a lie. It's not suspicious at all that Cole Allen has a manifesto, just like all these other people, regardless of their age. All of them know to have a manifesto. All of them happen to have a manifesto. It's not weird at all that they immediately knew who the person was. They immediately found his manifesto, right? It's not weird at all that he has a history in media, just like all these other people. That's not odd to you. It's not odd to you that immediately after Charlie, your husband passed away, Trump, who Charlie Kirk allegedly helped get elected, right? Elected. He played a huge role in that election, in that campaign. A day, not even 2 days, not even 48 hours later, Trump does not even care enough to show emotions about what happened to the guy, but he's directing attention to a random ballroom. Why does the ballroom matter? Why is that important right now? You don't find it odd that that was the first thing Trump talked about immediately after your husband was allegedly taken out, and immediately after this ballroom event that you also happen to be in attendance for, despite the fact that you just canceled the TPUSA event because of fear for your life? but you're going to attend a White House event where the president can be under greater threat. An event that your husband never attended, by the way. An event President Trump never chose to go to in the past. You don't find it odd that immediately after that event, once again, that's the first thing Trump talks about is the ballroom? All I'm saying is, why is it that we are the only ones that notice patterns? Nobody else.
And while we may have big problems with illegal immigration in this country, I have to tell you, we have an even bigger problem when it comes to the systemic indoctrination and radicalization of our own citizens. This is what got my husband killed.
Oh.
This is what has led to 3 legitimate attempts on President Trump's life.
Propaganda. Because she knows, if nobody else knows, Erika Kirk definitely knows that it was legitimate. Okay. People with entire research teams like Tucker Carlson, and I know we have our suspicions and our skepticism about who he truly could be or who he could truly, I get it. But nonetheless, people with resources to entire research teams have looked into the Butler situation, and it's very fair for anybody to come to the conclusion that what they told us that day is complete BS. But she's going to come on here and call it legitimate, as if she's the professional and she knows. Okay, Erika.
And I can speak firsthand to that unbearable toll that this must take on our First Lady. There has never been a president who has faced this many assassination attempts in Americans' entire history.
So what should that tell you? Sounding like propaganda to me. This is the same exact language Matt Walsh was using that we covered yesterday when he was defending the one and only, ironically, Erika Kirk. This is the same thing that he said. What should that tell you? That doesn't help your argument. It hurts it. Should it not come suspicious to you that this has never happened? And I've covered this before. We had both Bushes. We had Clinton. We had Obama. We had Biden. In 37 years, we've had how many shots have been fired in assassination attempts? In 37 years, 0. I didn't ask how many assassination attempts. I said how many shots have actually gotten to be fired? 0. Somehow with Trump, in a year and 9 months or almost 2 years, he's had 3 of them. Charlie Kirk, 1 of them. So 4 in 2 years. So you're trying to convince me that somehow they're different from the other Republican presidents before them? Or are you arguing that we're in just such a bad time in our country that we've never seen before? What's your argument here? Because if I'm on your side or if I'm in your position, I'm saying, there is something odd about this. Maybe I should take a step back and actually ponder on what those possibilities are that could explain why all of a sudden everybody wants Trump unalived. Right.
And after each one, the reaction from the far left has been, at best, a shrug, and in some cases, a sick disappointment that the shooter was unsuccessful.
Yeah, and that's sick, but why do we care what the left is doing? Once again, this is another way, and while I got about 3,000 of y'all in here, I need to say this now. This is very important for people to understand. Whenever you hear these people covering these situations, and they never talk about intel agencies, they never talk about psyops or psychological operations, which are real things that have been proven are real, when they never even entertain the possibility of these things. And it's always as simple as somebody on the right or somebody on the left, somebody that's been radicalized, somebody that's not been radicalized, a victim of the left. When you hear people only stick to this binary political scam that they've been selling to us, that should tell us all we need to know. All of a sudden to them, it's never more complex than that. It's never deeper than that. The military doesn't exist. Military operations does not exist. PSYOPs don't exist. The CIA does not exist. Mossad does not exist. Spies do not exist. You know, okay.
We're all human beings. And if you can just pause and just take a minute and ask yourself, how would you feel if even just one person made cruel jokes about the attempted murder of your loved one?
I would feel horrible. I would feel horrible. I would feel horrible. In some cases, depending on who it is, I would probably want to go and see that person.
That is what Jimmy Kimmel did to the First Lady. He said that she had the glow of an expected widow.
So this is what's strange, though. So all of a sudden, freedom of speech does not matter. You can not like what they say, but they have the right to say it. This is all the things that you all were saying. Guess what? People on the left, progressives, don't like it when we say men cannot be women. Biological men, I don't care how you feel on the inside, right? It's called gender dysphoria. It's a mental health disorder. I don't care what the DSM-5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 will say. It's a mental health disorder. And we've always recognized it as a mental health disorder up until a few years ago. If I was to say that out loud, they would call that hate speech. And the rhetoric and the argument you just made, they would make the same argument. Does it mean that I don't have the right to say it anymore? No. This is America. Now all of a sudden the right is complaining about the rhetoric of other Americans. That's odd. Bro.
The glow of an expected widow.
Yes, it's a horrible thing to say. It's a horrible thing to say, but he has the right to say it. And not only that, he's a freaking comedian. Does that mean that comedians get special treatment? No, it means that we all know that comedians say some of the most vile things. Shoot, freaking, what's his name? Dave Chappelle has been saying things about the transgender community for like the past, 4 years, 5 years. How many monologues have you had? How many monologues of people on the right? How many monologues have you all had complaining about Dave Chappelle and his rhetoric around? None. Because I vividly remember Matt Walsh, Officer Tatum, Mark Dice, Ben Shapiro praising him, making fun of leftists all across Twitter, TikTok, complaining about leftists upset about what Dave Chappelle had to say about transgenders. You all had no problem with it then. This is what you call double standards, hypocrisy. We have to be consistent.
Just 48 hours before that nightmare almost became a reality. And this culture we're living in absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized through all of this, truly, having lived through quite literal hell these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all. Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface.
Nope, not true. No. See, this is what I'm saying. If somebody on the left that said that, why you got to make it about race? Everything's nah. Drewski, let's be clear. Drewski did not dress up in whiteface. Drewski dressed up as Erika Kirk. But for the sake of Drewski, he actually didn't dress up as Erika Kirk. He never said that. The video title never said that. Drewski dressed up as white conservative women. Why is that important? Because, or Drewski dressed up as a white conservative woman who fits certain stereotypes. Blackface, wasn't just a matter of a white person painting black paint on their face. Blackface was exaggerating, first and foremost, exaggerating the skin color of many black folks, so-called black people, because our skin color is actually brown. Obviously, I'm brown, but many of you all would call me black. My hair is black. My skin is not brown. Is not black. My skin is brown, right? More of a bronze color, right? With exaggerated lip size. I just so happen to have really big lips. I love my lips, but so-called all black people's lips do not look this big. Big noses and big ears. That's typically, and it was a caricature of black people. And it wasn't about a specific black person. It was about stereotyping all black people. He dressed up as Erika Kirk without saying Erika Kirk's name. That's the difference.
I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband.
Okay. At this point, maybe this is all just a show. Maybe this is all just a show. Because Candace is supposed to come back on air today. She goes live today and says this right before Candace goes live today. I watch just about every episode of Candace, or at least I try to. From my understanding, Candace has never in life said that you unalive Charlie Kirk. Erika, you know that Candace Owens never said that you unalived Charlie Kirk. You can say in honesty, Candace Owens has implied that I had foreknowledge. Candace Owens has implied that I've been a part of some sort of criminal activity. Candace Owens has implied or even stated that I was a part of some cover-up. But to say that Candace Owens stated that you unalived your husband is the most dishonest thing you could have said here. I see people in the comment section saying she could sue because this is defamation. Dude, this is part of the reason why people don't trust her, man. Like, this is part of the reason they don't trust her. Because when you come on here and you straw man what somebody has said about you, it means that you don't want to deal with the reality and actually talk about the very things that they've said about you. Erika, let's talk about the 15-year-old girl. Can we talk about that one? Because maybe you had no wrongdoing. Maybe you did nothing wrong. Maybe all of that was AI. Maybe all of that was fraudulent. Why don't you talk about it? Why don't you address it head on? Why don't you address it on camera with somebody who thinks that you're guilty and you talk about it for the world to see? If you want to alleviate yourself from being in this spotlight, this limelight of negativity all the time, but you refuse to do that. This is why people are struggling to trust Erika Kirk. That's crazy. She literally just said this. I'm going to go back, man. That's crazy.
Conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all. Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on. There is a serious epidemic of dehumanization plaguing this country. The most unthinkable tragedies.
Another thing is, why does it say, respectfully, I'm not even being funny here. Shouldn't it say MISS or MS, Erika Kirk? And that's not to be like insensitive. I'm just saying, like, I thought that's supposed to change, unless that is Charlie Kirk is still alive and you are maybe hiding the truth in plain sight by using MRS. Otherwise, I thought you're supposed to change this handle here. This is supposed to be a different Mrs. If you're a widow, I believe it's MISS. If you're a widow, I believe it's MS. I forget. One is like a single woman. One is for widows, and it gets interesting. They said no, widows are MRS. Really? Okay, I could be wrong here, and I'm okay with being wrong. I thought it was supposed to switch. Okay, they say widows do get to use MRS. All right, I stand corrected. Thank you for correcting me, y'all. I have Candace Owens claiming that I unalived my husband. You know what makes this even more strange? That what people are actually saying about Erika could just put this to rest. But she's choosing not to do that.
Have now become commonplace in our daily headlines, and yet the media finds a way to conveniently explain away violence. This is what we're up against. This is what we're up against. What is happening right now is something none of us can afford to ignore. The evil forces working to divide us, to distract us, and to pull us apart has never been stronger. This is a moment for Americans to come together and decide what kind of country we are going to be before we lose our country altogether. In Romans chapter 12, verse 21, it says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." And this is why my husband created Point USA, so we could have civil discourse and debate and open dialogue, because when we stop talking to each other, bad things happen.
Okay. Erika, respectfully, man, and I do mean respectfully. Man, this is just going to do more damage than good, bro. I don't know if she understands this does not come off the way I think she may thinks that this is coming off. Erika, you just quoted Charlie Kirk, but you're refusing to do the very thing. You spent much of this dialogue complaining about what other people have said, complaining about how other people have exercised their right to freedom of speech. You don't like their speech, so it's considered hate speech because it's speech that you don't like. But if your husband was all about civil discourse, which he was, if he was all about debate, which he was, why don't you have a conversation with the Candace Owens? Why don't you reach out to Drewski and say, what is it about my behavior that made you do that, even though you know that? Didi, what's your Cash App? My Cash App is in the description right here. It's left hand with a 3. It's in the description. It's in the description too, but it's at the bottom of the screen. I'm so confused here. Notice when she mentions Drewski's skit, she doesn't talk about the very things that Drewski was highlighting. You were coming out to pyrotechnics. That comes off weird to everybody, Erika. That's not just conservatives and leftists. It's everybody. That's weird to us. You come out in this orange pants jumpsuit thingy. That's weird to people. You have your husband's tent that he allegedly passed away in outside of the freaking event like some sort of ritual. Erika, that's weird to people. The fact that you're pretending that you don't even understand how that's weird. Erika, when you're doing this with your eyes, that's weird to people. People are calling that the Cash Patel. You don't want the Cash Patel, Erika. That's weird to people. That's all we're saying, right? When people are making accusations and digging into your history and these patterns that people are noticing, Erika, you could just literally come on camera and be like, "Hey, y'all, I feel you. That is strange. If I were y'all, I would be suspicious of that too. How about we just go down the list together?" Right? So that you all don't think that I unalived my husband. So you all don't think that I had something to do with it. Let's just go down this together. Here, let's figure it out. And if something don't make sense to me, I'll tell you all, we can go to the FBI together. I'll let you all hear me call the FBI. We can work this out together. Now, somebody who is a critic would say, but why would she do all of that? She don't owe you all anything. No, she should do it because, one, she is the CEO of a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which means that's a public organization that people are donating to, which means a lot of the money that that organization is ran upon, or I should say some of the money, is from the public. There is a level of transparency that you have to conduct yourself with. That's just how it works. Number two, the reason why she should do this is because clearly she cares what the public thinks about her. Clearly she cares. So if she cares, then she should probably do something about it, right? That would make the most sense. But when you're choosing not to do it, that makes people skeptical of you and make people continue to lead with the narrative that the FBI is in on it. Right? And to pretend that you don't understand why people will believe that is disingenuous.
I am choosing to fight for America, for my children, for your children, and for our humanity. Because we all need to do our part. And by the grace of God, we will succeed.
Who's God? Can we just say who God is? I just want to hear it. That's all.
I am choosing to fight for America, for my children, for your children, and for our humanity. Because we all need to do our part. And by the grace of God, we will succeed, and America will remain what she was always called to be, a shining city on a hill, a light to the world.
A light to the world. Interesting. Because that's, last time I checked, that's what Lucifer wanted to be, a light to the world, right? Last time I checked, this country was founded by the free and accepted Masons, right? The land of the free and accepted Masons. But I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. And let's just say that Erika, she doesn't know that. Much like how Charlie was questioned about Freemasonry. And once again, he was claimed to not have been very knowledgeable about it, which I find extremely hard to believe. If not for any other reason, the fact that Charlie Kirk was very informed and intelligent and very well read on a plethora of different topics, especially the history of this country. So he knows that, I don't know, Andrew Jackson and Abraham Lincoln and a lot of these people who wrote the Constitution, and a lot of these people were deists. They believe in different deities, right?
So let me give you a perfect example of how it's done. My husband did it best and left us the blueprint on how to have uncomfortable conversations with those who disagree.
Fair, but why won't you have conversations with people then, Erika? And it's very strange that once again, we got Trump back there in the background. Charlie and Trump. Get that dude off the wall. It's like nonstop promotion for Trump. It's strange. Charlie and Trump.
Buckle up, everybody. Here we go.
As a reminder, please hit the like button, everybody. While I got about 3,500 of y'all in here, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. It helps the video. With 3,500 people in here, I should at the very least have 3,000 likes. I would really appreciate it if you all hit the like button. There's something I want to point out. The other day, I pointed out the fact that, Trump seems to not be that much concerned about what happened to Charlie. Yet TPUSA has this unprecedented allegiance to Trump. At the very least, I would understand if people were to say, why does the president not seem to have cared what happened to Charlie? We can't even get that out of TPUSA. Right? When you do things like this, and you are Erika, TPUSA, Andrew Kolvet, Blake Neff, Tyler Boyer, and the list goes on, Mikey McCoy, who's refusing to show up on camera very much these days. When you refuse to have a dialogue with people, this leads to people questioning your entire existence. It leads to people becoming even more radical, as you say. Now people are really questioning, was Charlie even unalive that day? If you want to put these quote unquote conspiracy theories to rest, why won't you have a dialogue with people? Why won't y'all talk to people? Why is Andrew Kolvet only speaking to people that agree with him? That's strange, man. And to pretend like you don't know why people are doing this, you do. You do. But this is only gonna like just keep the train going when you're claiming people are accusing you of taking out your husband. Are there people that believe that? Sure. Are there people online that have been saying that? Sure. Are some of the biggest platforms been saying that? No. I'm gonna take it a step further. You know what Erika could have done a long time ago? Erika could have put, and she still could put an end to a lot of people's online career. I said it. Erika don't, or maybe she has realized this. She has single-handedly created so many careers on the internet, whether that be TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, or all combined. Some people's channels is 100% dedicated to this investigation, and they're making good money and a good living off of it. Erika could put that to rest by simply sitting down and doing a tell-all, a Q&A, right? Because remember, they were supposed to do the Q&A months ago, but they pivoted and it never happened. They can literally put this stuff to rest. Why haven't they done that? You know what I'm saying? That's strange. You keep saying that, you know, certain things you can't share because it's an ongoing investigation, even though we know that that's not fully true, because you can have an open conversation like you've done with Barry Weiss, like you've done on Fox News. You can have a conversation about certain aspects of the investigation, certain aspects of your opinions on certain things, but you choose to only do it with people that agree with you. That does not make sense. That's suspicious, right? You could end so many careers. If Erika ever saw this clip, this is what I would say to Erika, respectfully, and I'm saying this with love. She could put an end to so many people's careers, because what would people have to pivot to? They'd have to just stick with just general politics, boring politics. Because at this point, Erika is no longer suspicious. She sat down with Candace Owens. She sat down with Tucker Carlson, right? She sat down with somebody who just, even if the person she sat down with agrees with her, it's an ally of hers, but they hit her with all the tough questions. And if her answers were satisfying and seemed genuine, you say, well, that's objective. Genuine is in the eyes of the beholder. What I mean is, if I ask you, Erika, do you find it strange that Charlie Shirk did all of this, and you have professionals who are saying that's irregular, that's not normal. I've unalived multiple people in my life. I've never seen anybody's shirt do that, and I've unalived people up close and personal. You have ex-snipers saying this. Erika, do you find that strange even a little bit? I think if you're being honest, you would say, yeah, I do, because I'm not an expert in that. I don't know how that works. But the fact that you say, I only believe what the FBI is telling me, that's strange, man. It's strange. It's strange. It's strange. So I don't want to go too hard here. I don't want to come off like I'm just attacking the lady. Like I said, I'm not attacking her at all in this video. I'm coming from a place of love. Somebody said, Didi, Erika sat down and lied to Candace's face. See, here's the thing, too. I've refrained from mentioning those situations. You know why? Because I am being strategic with my approach to refrain from giving any critics an easy out. An easy out for them would be, were you there? Like the lady, Lori, or whatever her name is, the unhinged lady who blocked me on Twitter and then unblocked me just to tag me in something here recently. And I was like, didn't you just block me? And she was like, I did because a lot of your bots were coming after me. And I'm like, what? I don't have bots. And then I think she blocked me again. I don't know. Maybe not. But people like her will easily say, were you there for that meeting? Do you know if that meeting ever took place? Do you know for a fact? No, Demetrius. Do you know for a fact? No, I don't know. All right. How about this? Do you know what was actually said? How do you know if Candace is telling the truth? I don't know. I don't know. So I refrain from even mentioning it because the truth of the matter is I wasn't there. I don't know if it happened. I believe Candace, but Candace could be lying. That is a possibility. But if she was lying, I think Erika would have came out and said that she was lying if all of this is not a show to begin with, you know? But we're talking one-dimensional right now. I don't know. That's the truth. Well, you don't know if all of this is constructed just to make Erika look bad. Candace Owens has convinced all of you. I was talking about this before Candace. Remember, I was going hard with investigations before Candace Owens was talking about any of this, let alone Erika. It took her a while. It took Candace like 3-4 months before she started questioning anything with Erika. I was on it like days after the fact. I think my first video came out like 3 days after September the 10th. Many of you all remember that. I had questions, and I still have questions. You don't understand the impact that Candace has had on everybody else. She's even hiring agents like Baron Coleman and other people they're on her payroll, and that's why she keep mentioning them on her podcast. Because, I mean, I don't know if that's true. Again, I'm only going to speak on things that I know. What I know is that I was noticing so many things well before other content creators were speaking about it. Some other content creators who aren't as prominent were speaking about it before I was. Right? And I don't have any problem giving those shout outs. I don't remember all of them. I think one of them is They Live Truth or something like that. I think another one is Jurassic Truth or something like that. Two incredible channels. I believe both of them were speaking about it like within a day after Charlie's whole event. I learned some information from them. And their channels haven't received any love at all, really, you know, because typically the best channels online don't receive love. It's typically how it works. You know, so yeah, man. So there's that. All right, let me get to you all's your super chats. Thank you, Tanya, for the $5 super chat. Holla DD, 5 thumbs up. I appreciate that big time. And thank you for becoming a new member. Let's see. Veronica, thank you for the $2 super chat. Erika acting gangster. Well, she addressed. Erika understands. All of them understands that no matter what she says, it's going to be content for some people. But I'm genuinely, and I'm genuinely want to just understand, because it's just odd to me. If you want people to understand where you're coming from, Erika, why are you only doing monologues? Sit down with somebody who got real questions. That will put an end to all of this. You know? Once again, please hit the like button, everybody. I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button so much. Thank you so much. I've never tried to do this. Let me see if this works. I don't think this is going to work, though. Image. Let me see if this works. This would be really cool if I can do this, but I don't think I can. Yet. Boom. Okay, no. Let me try this. You got a podcast. Oh, I might be able to do it. I might be able to do it. On podcast, subscribe. Feed 3. Let's see if this works. Okay, it doesn't work. Never mind. Okay, it's fine. Erika acting like Tupac. That's funny. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Veronica. Funny, the journalist's first words were, "You look beautiful." Narcissism at its finest. All right, I didn't even pick that up. I didn't even pick that up. Yeah, not that it's hard to believe that would say that. You know, Erika is a beautiful woman. You know, but That is interesting. Mickey, what's up, Mickey? Thank you for becoming a member for 4 months, man. I don't mean to be an alarmist, but I hope everyone has a plan for what your very next move will be in life if life suddenly changes radically. I believe the mask has slipped for a reason. They seemed unconcerned about consequences. That's very well said. Mickey and I was actually just talking about this the other day. I agree. I've been saying for some time. I think that something is coming down the pipeline. I think they have things planned. I think the fact that they keep having these psyops take place so close in time, right? There's very little time in between these events. I think there's a reason for that. Very strange. They keep talking about this ballroom, and Trump is in the, like, I just watched what's her name, freaking Megyn Kelly, who seems to flip-flop depending on the week. But Megyn Kelly was talking about how Trump's numbers are in the drains. They're in the drains. It's just what it is, I would encourage many of you all, since I have about 3,000 of you all left, I would encourage you all, number one, once again, please hit the like button, but also to go and check out, if you haven't seen my breakdown of Trump's White House Correspondents' Dinner, where I'm proving, in my opinion, that it was a psyop, or for those of you that are new to that term, a psychological operation. I believe that it was fake, allegedly. I would encourage you to go and watch that video. It wasn't a live. It was a regular video on this channel from about 3 days ago. So I would encourage you to go and watch that if you haven't seen it as of yet. All right. Thank you for the $10 super chat, True Blue Natalie. I'm just now starting to listen in case you covered it already. Do you know if she is speaking tonight at the Prestonwood Church in Dallas? 8,000 expected in attendance. Geo Fence, I live here. Thank you. I actually don't know that. I have heard that she's canceled like 2 other events since that point. It's just going to be interesting to see how she navigates this space, because I don't know the reason she's canceling it. They've alleged that it's because it's low attendance. So maybe that's why, but that's very strange to me that Andrew Kolvet alluded to the fact that Erika still wants to follow through with Charlie's promise and his mission, but something tells me she's going to fade away because the people aren't accepting her. And part of the reason is because she's refusing to do the very things that I named in this episode. If she cared about truth and cared about, furthering Charlie's legacy, her husband's legacy, the best way to come off as transparent and open, or more so like Charlie, is to put yourself out there like Charlie did. I don't mean put yourself out there where you can get harmed, but even if it's virtually, make yourself available to the people and answer the hard questions, answer the tough questions. But she's not doing that. Yeah. Holisticology, thank you for the $5 super chat. Erika Kirk using emotional blackmail to get people to fall for this angle. Right. Adriana, thank you for the $5 super chat. Your QDD waiting for Erika's point. Don't you know she never makes a point. She jumps from topic to topic. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, man. And I think these monologues are just gonna continue to backfire until you sit down and answer the questions. Right. I know I keep repeating that, but that's what it's gonna take. And I mean, just doing that isn't enough. You have to be transparent. If it's cookie cutter, safe, scripted answers, the people are going to see through you immediately. Right? I'm sick of her playing the perpetual victim. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Yeah, man. She dressed like Sarah Connor from Terminator. That's actually true, Jitterbug. Thank you for the $2 super chat. You're actually right. I remember Sarah Connor from the Terminator, one of my favorite movies. She was dressed like her. Even that comes off a bit performative to people. I know what that stuff means on a deeper level, but surface level, people see that and they're saying, okay, you're trying to emotionally manipulate us by wearing all black. As a white, blonde, blue-eyed woman with biracial Hispanic children, we all agree that was not racist. It was facts. There was nothing racist about that. He didn't make that about white people and white people's features. Nope, that's not what it was about, which is why I refused to call it whiteface. It was Erika Kirk face. And the fact that he didn't have to say her name, yet everybody knew who it was, says what we need to know. Enough is enough, Erika. Exactly. This is the same Erika who, in her tweet, put out the enough is enough at the very end, which is very strange because it aligns with the enough is enough Donald Trump Illuminati card that we've covered. Enough is enough, though. Also aligns with the very last post, the title of the very last post of Charlie Kirk's YouTube short the day before he was taken out. Josephine, thank you for the $5 super chat. When young women marry old men, they are marks for such comments. My 22-year-older husband passed. I get the joke. It's fair. Yeah. Right. This is Erika's address to the Rhythm Nation. For real, though, Janet Jackson could sue her for stealing her look. I saw that online. I'm not as familiar with that. Maybe I'm a little bit too young, but I saw people sharing pictures on Twitter or X of Janet Jackson in all black and saying that she was trying to go for the Janet Jackson look, but failed miserably. And I try not to speak on things that I'm not as educated on. So, but I would like to validate your comment by saying I saw other people saying that as well. The Pom Pom Mom, but thank you for the $7 super chat. Erika in her battle fit, like she's mimicking the battle bond. Oh boy, y'all going off. You are a fraud, Erika, and we are loving watching it flow like this. I'm not saying this stuff. These are not my opinions. These are the people. These are the opinions of the people. You know. Shout out to Mickey for the $10 super chat. Isn't the timeline getting stranger by the day? Diddy, I hope you have a survival guide and a plan. I recommend USAF. USAF. SERE 10-64. Definitely. I've definitely been thinking about that, Mickey, and strategizing. Actually, from the very first time you mentioned it to me. I try not to get on here and talk like that as much. I do want people to be prepared, but I don't like to fearmonger people either. And I'm not saying you're fearmongering, but again, it's certain things I like to say on YouTube, certain things I try not to, you know. YouTube is weird. It gets tricky sometimes. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Judge Shady Court. That part, weird behavior for a grieving widow. My concern would be what the F happened to my husband, right? Bingo. See, such a simple comment says it all. Why is that not the only concern? To them, there's no questions. There's nothing to be questioned. There's nothing to be trying to figure out. Everything has been figured out. The motive, the person, there's no strange behaviors to look into. None of that happened. None of that is important. All that has been settled for us. We're focused on the country and only the country, the furtherance of this country. What happened to Charlie isn't important anymore. Stop talking about that. I hope they know how it comes off. Right. Again, no marriage, no. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the $5 super chat again, Veronica. Charlie chilling on an island, sipping on a drink, laughing at all of us. Goyim. Allegedly. Thank you, Josephine, for the $5 super chat. I've wondered if this is all just another distraction. I like you questioning this. Thanks. Yeah, I'm well aware. I play so many different theories in my head. I'm like, who could potentially be an actor that everybody likes? Right? Let me look into that person. Like I said, including content creators. I'm not an idiot. Some people's roles is to keep you thinking that certain things are real, even if you end up liking them in the process. Right? Sugar is good. Sugar can lead you down the wrong path if you have too much of it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm always questioning those things for sure. Shout out to Gina. What's up, Gina? Thank you for the $50 super chat again. Erika started off lying and continued throughout. Charlie Kirk started org to bring awareness to fiscal responsibility. And I should have freaking thought of that. Very good point, Gina. Dang it. And me and Brian, the auditor, literally went over this. Yeah, when Charlie started the organization, it actually wasn't about as political as it was. It was about fiscal responsibility and hold politicians accountable. Absolutely, it was. Right? It was more so concerned about fiscal responsibility and economics. You are absolutely right. It all changed after she came into the picture. It's all about money now. Honeypot, she just can't stop lying. Dang it, I wish I would have remembered that. Because I mean, still about 3,000 of y'all in here, but I just fear that maybe the other, 500, 700 people may have needed to hear that part. That's a very good point. But that's why I got Gina and the rest of y'all here, man, so y'all can keep me on my toes too. Thank you for the $50 super chat, Michelle. Didi, thank you for being you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad y'all rocking with me as always. Somebody got a super chat called Didi in T-Town. I think I've seen this and responded to this person before. Didi in T-Town. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Long time Candace Owens fan, initial Baron fan, but now I'm sus of all these hyped influencers. Your take is always fresh, genuine, and honest. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna say that y'all not finna get me in no beef with people, man. I guess I will say this. Myself included, you have every right to just question every person that comes across you. And if I give you reason, as I've said before, will you start to side out me or certain things I'm saying or supporting or doing? For sure. Dig into my history, right? Dig into the history of this channel. What have I always covered? Has it suddenly switched? Has my opinion suddenly switched? Have I ever explained it? Who am I affiliated with? So I'm never going to knock you for doing that for sure. But speaking on specific individuals, I'm going to try to refrain from doing that. Man, I really want to pronounce his name correctly. I see Jackson. Is it Nafisa? It's a really unique spelling. And I know I've seen you before too. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Left, right is a scam, facts. However, it's ironic that Erika does not have the same disdain for Trump as she does for the left. When he blasphemed, even though I've said, I get why people believe that was Christ. I don't believe it was Jesus Christ, but I totally understand why you think that. Why don't Erika speak about that? Charlie would have done it at least to an extent. If you notice, they never say things that they disagree about with Trump, ever. Andrew Kolvet will say it as an afterthought, as a byproduct of something, but it's never the main focus, because they know doing that is much like what I said about Officer Tatum. You've made money off of this man's name, part of your notoriety, your popularity, your platform, your empire that you've built was in cahoots, if you will, with Donald Trump. So they are just fearful that it could trample everything that they've ever built. Jaina, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you, Didi. I refuse to click on their channel, so I appreciate it. You are so correct when you say it can all be a show. Much love and many prayers for you and yours, always for all of us. Amen. Same to you and yours. Yeah, for sure. And I know a lot of times we say this stuff every episode, but as I've heard other people say before, it's kind of like being an athlete. If you're Michael Jordan and you're competing, you're LeBron James or some of these people, and you want to sit out just because you're a little tired, you don't know. It may be some fan that came to see you play, and this may be their only time being able to afford to see you play in their life. You don't know. A person could be sick, and this may be the last time in their life, quite literally, they get to see you play. It's the same thing with this. Even though we've been saying this every other episode about how all of this could be a show, right? How to stay on your toes, pay attention to everything, question all people, including content creators, question us as well, right? Are we organic, right? Are we being forced on you, right? Do you agree with the things we're talking about, right? What are we encouraging you to do or how to live, right? These politicians, question them. Even if you agree with their politics or most of their politics, it doesn't mean that you can't question some of the things they say. It's important that we continue to repeat that, because there may just be one person out of these 2,700, 2,800 people that's left that may need to hear that. Maybe on other platforms that they don't hear this often. They just hear the left is bad, right is good, Biden bad, Trump good. It's like, or all of these people are corrupt. All of these people in cahoots with each other. And if you look at the history of politics, you'll notice a pattern. What's that pattern? The country has progressively or regressively gotten worse, despite the fact that it's went from Democrat to Republican, Republican to Democrat, back and forth. Somehow, miraculously, it hasn't made a difference. And it shouldn't take a 30-year-old to tell some of y'all that. Some of y'all been around longer than I have. Thank you, Pitsy, for the $5 super chat. What if Erika is baiting Candace? If this is scripted speech, they know it's a lie. It's defamatory. Could this be some sort of strange attempted trap? Could be. Very, very good thinking. See, I like people like this. I like people like this. Like, this is what you call, this person is very strategic with their thinking. They have history with being strategic, dealing with strategy. Yes, it could be. First and foremost, I don't think Candace would, at this point in her career, in her life, I don't think she'll sue anybody for words they've said about her, unless that the things that they say could directly and hugely impact her business, her way of life, right? I think that's the only way she would do it, especially if it's a person she's been very critical of, or as critical of as a Erika Kirk. She wouldn't dare in a million years, I don't think, sue her. That I think she would just make this for content. She'd make more money just you know. The woman is getting well over 1 million views. If y'all understood the money that come with that, that's why people are so funny when they say, I see on Twitter people say, Candace is not as popular as she once was. That's why she's fabricating and coming up with different angles, because her video has been up for almost 24 hours and it hasn't yet reached 1 million views. And I'm like, if your best argument, I don't care how you feel about Candace, you can be skeptical of Candace, who she is, who she really worked for, whatever. But just from a financial perspective, if you think that it's a knock on somebody that they did only 1 million views in 2 days instead of doing 1.5 million views in 2 days, you really need to go back to the drawing board. You understand? Because that person is doing just fine. I don't care if they was averaging 2 million views a month ago. 1 million views per video. There's very few content creators across the entire internet that will ever see those type of views or money. It's just what it is. But I'm not pocket watching. I'm just saying, like, that's not a flex to be pointing that out. Always be true. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Erika was choked at Drewski because he has a huge head. Drewski's head is really big. That boy got a big old head. How come Erika didn't address those hand signs he was doing? When he was doing this, Erika, you want to talk about why he thought it was so important, of all the things you've done, all the things people have critiqued you about, that one thing was so important that he included it in a 1.5 minute skit. Why was that so important? Let's talk about that. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Just a little tip for continuing to provide a genuine insight on your opinions. Just keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Shady Logos. I appreciate that big time. Heck yeah. Please look up the German World War II fight song, Erika. Okay, I'll look it up. What did y'all think about that Running Point? Not Turning Point, but Running Point, the Netflix series with the white blonde on the basketball court, which is Erika's favorite sport. Did y'all find that weird? Or was that what do they call it? A nothing burger? Y'all don't know. I write so much stuff down that y'all tell me to look into. Which reminds me, I need to look into Dimitri Revolt. I said I was going to do it the moment I got off live yesterday and life hit. Charlie's Angels. What you know about Charlie's Angels? Shout out to you for the $5 super chat. Did I have Truth of 2 other people she manipulated on the internet. How can I get you the screenshots? Is truth. Erika not spreading lies. What are you talking about, Candace? Who are you talking about? You can do that in the comment section of this video. ddmotivates@gmail also works too. Just hit me in the emails. I'll have my assistant to look over the emails. I've been getting so many emails lately that I think I'm going to just continue to get help with going through a lot of these emails. Shout out to Mickey again for the $5 super chat. Candace's father worked for the property management company, contracted to SH Elementary Newton CT in 2012. Okay. Maybe I missed something. Mickey, what is this tied to? Like, is this tied to something else we were just discussing? Maybe I missed it. He worked for the property management company, contracted. Okay. Just let me know what I missed with that. And yours truly, thank you for the $2 super chat. Check email sent 4/18/26 from Ayana Elise. I believe I may have saw that name, or maybe my assistants may have sent me this. Y'all don't know, I get a lot of trolls in my emails, man, and I've started to block people. Some of that stuff, my assistant sees so many emails that are so crazy that I tell her to just bypass it unless somebody's like saying something where we really need to be concerned. Don't just overlook these people. Marie, thank you for the $5 super chat. Shout out to They Live Truth. They Live Truth. Much love, Didi. I wish I had more money to give you. LOL. No, I appreciate you. Your $5 super chat is more than enough. Yeah, They Live Truth is the truth. Literally. Love his work. Big time. All right, let me get to some of you all's regular comments. At this point, I think Erika and her whole crew is AI because how the HELL are they this sloppy, reckless, and oblivious? I get your point. It's strange. Like if you have a PR team, by this point they're telling you might want to switch this up a little bit. If you want to appeal to the people a little bit more as the CEO, which that's kind of important, but they keep doing the same stuff that makes them come off as strange and inorganic and inauthentic. What you munching on, Didi? You must be starving. Some leftover Skittles. I try not to eat too much candy, but I had this sitting here. Ooh, easy now. Oh, that's what you mean with the Candace thing? No way. Are you serious? I'm gonna look into that. Candace Owens' dad worked at that school. Now I want to go back to your super chat and read what you said. Candace's father worked for the property management company, contracted it to the. Has she talked about this? That's crazy. That's very crazy if that's true. For sure. What? A few of y'all have sent me. Apparently, Laura Loomer did like an expose or something on Candace, but that woman is so insane. I don't care to listen to a video. So I would rather somebody sum up the things that she said and just send it to me or clip it up. Loomer said Candace's parents abandoned her. Dang. I don't know if that's like did they abandon her as a kid or something? Like, I don't know why. I mean, that's not my business. If that's unfortunate if they did that when she was a kid, but if you're saying did that after she became an adult, then, you know, but why is that relevant? You know? Shout out to, is it Nafisa? I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Nafisa Jackson. When I lost my fiance years ago, when my mom was alive, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. She had to throw me inside the shower after 4 days. I screamed when the water hit me. I don't get Erika. Dang. I'm late, but hey guys, what up? How you doing? All right, I'm gonna read about 3 or 4 more of these regular chats, and I'm gonna get up out of here. The YouTube channel called Rotten Jewels has the research. People telling you about this don't like Laura Loomer. Rotten Jewels. Okay. She said her parents divorced and she went to live with her grandparents. She always talked about how much she adores her grandpa. Yeah, I know she's talked about her grandpa a lot. That I am aware of for sure. Shout out to these channels. They Live Truth, Call for an Uprising. Absolutely. Starkey, Farmstead. Yep. Jurassic. Yep, that's his name. Awesome channels too. I 100% agree. I stamped that. Those are great channels. Go give them a follow. 100%. Candace must be, thank you for the $5 super chat. First and foremost, Candace must had hit a nerve last week. No blood vessel. Trump, Monica 2.0, and now Erika. Trump over France, but not for Erika. Right. Very strange. But if you notice, the criticism only goes in one direction. It only goes towards people that disagree with them. Who widely disagree with them. Mm-hmm. And Loomer lies on purpose. That woman has a long history of lying, for sure. That's definitely not a lie. That's the truth. All right, I'm gonna read one more comment. I'm gonna get up out of here. The people saying anyone is jealous of Erika are vile. No, we do not want our husbands unalive so we can take over their lives and gift money and power. Erika is literally skinwalking. Yeah, like it's that argument is tired, right? It's outplayed. It's completely outplayed. The irony of Erika Kirk talking about dehumanization while being the biggest org in America's life. Man, that's a bar. Now, if I could pin a comment, I would pin this. Very good job, Sundrop. Very good point. Rotten Jules has the receipts on the Sandy situation. It's her most popular video. Rotten Jules. All right, bet. I'm going to check that out too. Heck yeah. All right, bet. I'm going to go check that out, man. Y'all definitely hooked me up with the information today. So again, please hit the like button if you do not mind hitting the like button, if I can speak correctly, hitting the like button helps tremendously. I would really appreciate it. I'm gonna get up out of here, get some stuff done. I love y'all, man. Be safe. God bless you. Pray for everybody mentioned in this video. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. Peace. Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate at UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to me. Now let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people who are, or the rich white Jews that own these record labels, because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people, and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you? Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.